Good day, everyone. So for today, we are going to talk about Streptococcus and Enterococcus species. So last time, if you recall, we have discussed Staphylococcus organisms or Staphylococcus species. All of these are gram-positive cocci. So the difference is Streptococci and Enterococci are catalase negative, wherein ang Staphylococci and Micrococci, they are catalase positive. So for today, we are going to focus on the Streptococci and the Enterococci. These are catalase negative organisms. So we are going to compare the general characteristics and the isolation techniques we use for Streptococci and other similar organisms such as the Enterococci. And then we are also going to talk about the different classifications. So we have two major classifications of Streptococci, namely the hemolytic pattern based on their hemolytic pattern, and then the other one is based on their antigenic property. We call it the Lancefield classification. And then number three, we're going to talk about their virulence factor, so especially those members, no, or species under the Streptococci. And then how do we identify them? So according to their workflow from the specimen collection down to their biochemical test. And then speaking of biochemical tests, we're going to talk about also the principles and the expected results of these tests. So again, this is for the Streptococci and the Enterococci. So let's start with the general characteristic of the Streptococci. So they're under the family Streptococciae. So again, as I've mentioned, they are catalase negative. So pareho ang Streptococci at Enterococci versus Staphylococci and Micrococci na mga gram positive. But again, their difference generally lies in the catalase test. So again, may bubble formation kapag Staphylococci and Micrococci, wala namang bubble formation sa Streptococci and Enterococci. Correct? Now, in terms of the arrangement, of course, kapag gram positive, di ba, purple in gram stain reaction. Yun yung expected na color. Now, in terms of the arrangement, Staphylococci are usually in cluster, grape-like clusters, correct? Micrococci are usually in irregular cluster or in tetrads. Wherein, ang mga Streptococci naman, they are usually in shades, especially kapag pinatubo mo sila sa broth culture. So, but they may also show these chains, especially also in solid culture medium. But again, generally, chain or in pair. Now, in terms of being cocci, majority of them are usually elongated. Ang Staphylococci kasi, when you view them under the microscope, their cocci is spherical. Bilog na bilog. Wherein, ang mga Streptococcus naman, usually, ang pagka-cocci nila is elongated. Pero cocci pa rin. Now, in terms of the aerotolerance, majority of the Streptococci are facultative anaerobe. Also, some of them are aerotolerant anaerobe, and some of them are capnophile. So, pag sinabi naman natin capnophile, they're usually requiring increased amount of carbon dioxide. So, ang requirement lang naman ng majority na carbon dioxide, diba? Especially the mga facultative anaerobe, 1 to 3%. But when you say capnophile, nag-i-increase yan more than 5 to 10%. Capnophile. Similar with Staphylococci, nagpa-ferment din to ng carbohydrate such as glucose. So, similar ng Staphylococci, nagpa-ferment din ng glucose. Okay? But here, no gas. And then, in terms of the colony, so if you're going to differentiate it with the Staphylococci, ang mga Streptococci, small. And descriptively, tinatawag natin yon as pinpoint. Wherein ang staphylococci, usually medium size, correct? And described as pinhead colonies. In terms of the density, transparent ang mga streptococci. So as you can see here, so eto po, no, mga transparent colonies. Pero ang staphylococci, they are opaque colonies. So isa pa yon sa major difference nila. So makikita mo na agad yan when you look at it in your on the surface of your blood agar plate, makikita mo agad yung difference nila. So nakakita naman na tayo ng staphylococci. So nagawa natin yan previously sa laboratory natin. Correct? So nakita ninyo, cream. And then opaque yung colonies. But next week, we will have the streptococci identification. So makikita nyo naman, they are transparent and pinpoint colonies. So in terms of the classification, sabi ko nga kanina, based on the hemolytic pattern, and another one is based on their antigen. So yung hemolytic pattern, so as you know, meron tayong tatlo, beta, alpha, and then we have the non-hemolytic. Again, ano yung appearance kapag beta hemolytic? They are clear, no? Around, hindi yung colony yung clear, yung medium. Yung medium that is surrounding the colony. Sa alpha hemolytic pattern naman, yung blood agar plate natin, yung medium, anong description ng appearance? May greenish discoloration. Because of the partial hemolysis of RBCs. Sa beta naman, kaya clear yung hemolytic pattern or clear yung surrounding ng colony kasi complete yung lysis ng RBC. Sa non-hemolytic, walang nangyaring hemolysis. So there's no change at all no sa medium. Wala pong na-lyse na RBC. Now in terms of the antigen, so meron tayong A, B, C, D, F antigen. But not only limited to this kasi meron pa tayong G, N, etc. But yung ibang antigens hindi pa clear or hindi pa identified yung carbohydrate content niya. So unlike A to F, it's already known or clear kung ano yung carbohydrate content. So group A is made up of rhamnose and acetylglucosamine. So meron tayong mga streptococci na merong A antigen. And yung A antigen is made up of the carbohydrate, rhamnose, and acetylglucosamine. Meron din tayong mga streptococci na merong B antigen. Ano naman yung composition ng B antigen? Rhamnose, glucosamine, polysaccharide. We also have streptococci which has C antigen. So they are under the group C, no? So consist of rhamnose and acetylgalactosamine naman. And then yung D antigen, so meron tayong mga streptococci na may D antigen, the carbohydrate is glycerol teichoic acid containing the D-alanine and glucose. And then for the F antigen, so we call those members no ng group F streptococci as group F streptococci, we have the glucopyranosyl and acetylgalactosamine. So meron tayong several types ng antigens, and these antigen will dictate kung ano yung group nila. So yung mga may A antigen, we call them group A, yung may B, group B, yung may C, group C, yung may D, group D, and yung may F naman, group F. But again, hindi lang dito limited yung antigens. Marami pa po, like for example, the G, the N, etc. But again, uulitin ko lang, hindi pa defined yung content ng carbohydrate nila. So, again, let us discuss yung hemolytic pattern. So ano ba yung reason kung bakit nagkakaroon ng hemolytic pattern? Etong mga streptococci, they have exotoxins. So virulence factor ito. Okay? So they have these exotoxins which are capable of damaging RBCs. So halimbawa, yung mga under ng beta hemolytic pattern group, they have beta hemolysin, which are capable of completely lysing the RBC. So ano yung appearance? So pag tinignan natin, pinatubo mo sila sa blood agar plate. So your blood agar plate contains intact RBC, right? Buong RBC yon. So dahil sa beta hemolysin nila, anong nangyayari? Nalalize po yung RBCs around or surrounding the colony. That's why yung appearance, makikita nyo, clear. Okay, ito yung colony. Surrounding it is a clear zone of hemolysis. Now, ito naman yung beta, ito naman yung alpha. Okay, ito yung colony. And then surrounding the colonies, as you can see, okay, greenish discoloration, meaning hindi po totally na-lyse yung RBC. Nagkaroon lang ng partial lysis, kaya yung appearance, merong greenish discoloration. Now, the gamma hemolytic pattern or the non-hemolytic pattern, walang nangyaring lysis ng RBC. Meaning to say, walang pagbabago sa appearance ng agar. Intact pa rin yung RBC. So we have another hemolytic pattern, but this hemolytic pattern is not associated with streptococci. Again, hindi associated sa streptococci, no? But since pinag-uusapan na rin lang natin yung hemolytic pattern, we have another one which is known as the alpha prime. So, eto namang alpha prime, small area, no, of intact RBC around the colony, surrounded by a wider zone of complete hemolysis. Meaning, if ito yung colony, meron po tayong non-hemolytic, intact non-hemolytic, and then surrounding it is the beta hemolysis. So, ito ay non, ito po ay beta. So, yan po yung tinatawag nating alpha prime. Okay, but again, I will repeat, this is not associated with a classification or any characteristic of the streptococci. So, sa streptococci, tatlo lang. Beta, alpha, and then gamma. So, ano-ano ba yung under ng beta? So, i-discuss na rin natin yan together with the Landsfeld classification. So again, sa Landsfeld classification, ang basis nito, yung pinag-usapan natin kaninang mga antigens. So again, ano yung mga antigens na yon? Mga carbohydrate yan. So specifically, we call them C carbohydrate. Saan makikita? Sa cell wall. So, we have groups according to which antigen do they possess. So halimbawa, kung meron silang A, they are belonging to the group A streptococci. Kung meron silang B antigen, group B, etc. Understood? Now, makikita natin sa table na to yung mga classifications ng Landsfeld. By the way, ito po ay ginawa, no, devised by Rebecca Landsfeld. The classification according to the C carbohydrate was devised by Rebecca Landsfeld in 1930, hence the term Landsfeld classification. So, I will discuss this together with the hemolytic pattern. So, simulan natin with the beta. So, yung mga nagpapakita ng beta hemolytic pattern. So, we have group A, group B, and then group C. But again, you have to remember, hindi dahil ginrupo natin sila sa B, they will always present, hindi dahil ginrupo natin sila under the beta, they will always present or demonstrate beta hemolytic pattern. Okay? No. They are classified under the beta because most of the time, they present beta hemolytic pattern. But you do not expect that they will always present or demonstrate beta. Kinlassify natin sila under the beta, again, because they usually, commonly demonstrate beta hemolytic pattern. So who are these or which are these organisms? So ito yung mga streptococci na may A antigen. Sino yon? Si Streptococcus pyogenes. So si Streptococcus pyogenes is also known as Group A Streptococcus. Sa Group B naman, or yung merong B antigen, is Streptococcus agalactiae. So this organism is also known as Group B Streptococcus. Then we also have the Group C. So meron namang C antigen. So dalawa sila under this. So we have your Streptococcus agalactiae and Streptococcus equi. So again, majority or most of the time, beta hemolytic pattern. Next, we also have the alpha hemolytic pattern. No? So ito yung mga nagpapakita ng alpha hemolytic pattern. So we have two. The Streptococcus pneumoniae. Now, you have to remember the Streptococcus pneumoniae doesn't have Landsfield classification for the reason that they do not have antigens. They do not have C carbohydrate. Wala sila niyan. Okay? So, pero Streptococcus pa rin siya. So, later we will discuss ano meron sa kanya. Okay? Bakit wala siyang C carbohydrate. Then, we also have the viridans streptococci. Okay? Etong viridans streptococcus na to, viridans streptococcus or streptococci. So, coccus is singular, cocci is plural. Now, this is a group of organisms or group of streptococci also that usually demonstrate alpha hemolytic pattern. The word viridans, it means green. Okay? So, this is a group of streptococci. Actually, meron pa tong subgroups, no? So, meron tayong tinatawag na Streptococcus bovis group, Streptococcus aeruginosus group, Streptococcus mutans group, Streptococcus mitis group, and the last one is Streptococcus salivarius group. Then, under this group, meron pa pong iba't ibang species ng streptococci. So, again, etong limang grupong to, they are generally under the group of viridans streptococci for the reason that they will present or they present alpha hemolytic pattern. Do you understand? Viridans streptococci or viridans streptococcus is not a genera nor a species. Clear? Pangalan to ng grupo. And the basis of classification or the basis of grouping is because of their capability to present alpha hemolytic pattern. Ma'am, is Streptococcus pneumoniae also under the viridans streptococci? Yes, it is. Okay? Yes. Under din siya ng viridans streptococci kasi nga nagpapakita din po siya ng alpha hemolytic pattern. So basically, ang Streptococcus pneumoniae, under po yan ng mitis group. Pero bakit natin siya hiniwalay? Okay? Kasi si Streptococcus pneumoniae is one of the most common streptococci organism na nagkukos ng infection in human. And meron siyang specific na characteristic na wala yung ibang streptococci. Later, we will further discuss it. But again, you have to remember, Streptococcus pneumoniae is still under the viridans streptococci, specifically the S. mitis group. So later, we will discuss that further. Okay, and then we have the non-hemolytic. Ma'am, why do we call it non-hemolytic? Why not we just call it as gamma? Now, in recent journals, hindi na po natin siya tinatawag as gamma hemolysis or gamma hemolytic pattern for the reason that technically, wala namang nangyayaring hemolytic pattern. So majority of the books now, it is called non-hemolytic pattern rather than calling it gamma. But why do we still call it gamma? Kasi some of the books still call it gamma. But again, recently, according to the taxonomy, hindi na po natin siya tinatawag na gamma. Okay? Non-hemolytic pattern. So, ano naman po yung under ng mga non-hemolytic? So, eto po yung mga group D streptococci, meaning eto po yung mga merong D antigen. And then, under this also, sama na natin si Enterococci. Sila Enterococcus, ulit, kapareho sila ng Streptococci. Dati silang under ng Streptococci. Kaya kung mapapansin ninyo, sinama pa rin natin siya dito sa discussion ng Streptococci. But it was reclassified into a new family. Kasi yung characteristic ng Enterococcus, halos kaparehong-kapareho ng Streptococcus. But then again, hindi na siya under ng Streptococci. Meron na siyang sariling family. Later, we will discuss why. Okay? So again, meron tayong tatlong hemolytic patterns and kinumbine ko na rin dito yung Lancefield classification. So we have the beta. So we have group A, group B, group C, alpha, the pneumoniae, wala siyang Lancefield classification, and then the viridans, streptococci. So we have the bovis, anginosus, mutans, mitis, and salivarius. And then for the non-hemolytic pattern, we have the group D, streptococci, and then we also have your Enterococcus. Now, uulitin ko po, hindi po all the time, though kinonsider natin sila under this hemolytic pattern, they will not always demonstrate these hemolytic patterns. No, majority lang, usually, generally, ito po. Pero pwede pa rin silang magpakita ng ibang hemolytic pattern. Do you understand? Okay. Now, ito yung mga diseases na associated with them, and ito yung mga common terms na ginagamit natin for them also. Clear? So, ito po sila anginosus, sila mutans, si mitis, sa salivarius, meron silang A, C, F, G, N, and then look for bovis. Ang bovis po ay merong B antigen. Okay? So, compared with the anginosus, which are the viridans, streptococci, mutans, mitis, and salivarius, other than D, meron sila, except for the D, meron silang A, C, F, G, and N. Okay, now, according to Mahon, the group or the antigens, characteristic, they are usually acid labile, except for B. Okay, B is acid stable. Okay, B or the antigen B is acid stable. Okay, let us start with the group A streptococcus. We call it the gas. Okay, group A streptococcus. So, under po nun si Streptococcus pyogenes. So, let's talk about its virulence factor. So, meron po siyang M protein. So, you remember, ang Staphylococcus ay merong protein A. Ito naman, M protein. Clear? So, the M protein is encoded by the gene EMM, and it has the capability to resist phagocytosis and also to adhere, to attach to mucosal cells. So, majority of the Streptococcus pyogenes are found in the upper respiratory tract. Upper respiratory tract. Now, yung mga M protein natin has actually 150 types, 150 serotypes. At yung M1, yung pinaka-common. Okay? M1, yung pinaka-common. Now, another is the protein F. F stands for fibronectin binding protein. And together with the lipoteichoic acid, because this is a gram-positive cocci, makikita ang lipoteichoic acid in its cell wall. So, eto naman po ay para sa attachment bit. Okay? Pero sa epithelial cells. Now, ang Streptococcus pyogenes, guys, meron din siyang capsule. The capsule is made up of hyaluronic acid. Okay? Hyaluronic acid. So, para saan ang capsule? So, similar with the function of capsules in other organisms, ito rin po ay for impeding, stopping, or inhibiting phagocytosis. So, majority of the hyaluronic acid capsule can be found especially sa mga young cultures. Okay? Pag sinabi natin young cultures, between 18 to 24 hours culture. Then, another virulence factor for Streptococcus pyogenes is the streptolysin O and the streptolysin S. So, we have several characteristics, no, in terms of the streptolysin O and streptolysin S. Ang streptolysin O are usually capable of lysing RBC anaerobically. And then, ang streptolysin S, aerobically. So, meaning, pag sinabi natin anaerobic without oxygen, pag sinabi natin aerobic with oxygen. Then, the hemolysin, so, it is the O-hemolysin and then the S-hemolysin, correct? So, ang O-hemolysin is oxygen labile. Kasi nga, anaerobic siya. Okay? So, meaning to say, makakapag-lyse lang siya ng RBC without the presence of oxygen. So, if you're going to talk about the BAP, the blood agar plate, saan po makikita ang hemolysis ng RBC? Sa ilalim or sa surface? It will be seen in the subsurface. So, kadalasan, kung nag-e-expect tayo ng streptolysin O, pinipit natin yung agar, binubutas natin yung agar. Okay? So, if you are expecting that the streptococci has streptolysin O, so instead of just streaking the microorganism or the streptococci on the surface, gagawa ka po, no, ng butas. So, using your loop, you will pit the agar. Kasi, kung meron siyang streptolysin O, pag pinatubo mo siya on the surface of the medium, hindi po makikita yung hemolysis ng RBC. So, sa ilalim po makikita. And that will be like this. In streptolysin S naman, so since oxygen stable siya, so kahit sa surface lang, kahit hindi mo ipit yung agar, magpapakita siya ng hemolytic pattern. Magpapakita siya ng beta hemolysis. Clear zone of hemolysis. So, ano ba yung mga, other than RBC, ano pa yung mga capable nilang ilyse? So, for streptolysin O, included po ang leukocyte, ito yung mga WBC, platelets, and other cells. Now, for streptolysin S, no, other than RBC, it can also lyse leukocyte. Now, your streptolysin O is considered to be highly immunogenic. Ano naman ang ibig sabihin nun? It can initiate an immune response. So, I've already mentioned that in staphylococci. Ang ibig pong sabihin nun, kaya niyang i-trigger yung immune system natin. So, streptolysin O serve as an antigen. So, yung katawan natin, magpo-produce ngayon ng antibody against it. Ang tawag natin doon is the anti-streptolysin O antibody. So, that could be detected by a serologic test. Ang tawag natin doon sa serologic test na yon is anti-streptolysin O test. Uulitin ko, ang streptolysin O, highly immunogenic, meaning kaya niyang mag-initiate ng immune response. Yung streptolysin O, siya yung nagiging antigen na nagdi-dictate sa katawan natin or nag-initiate sa katawan natin na mag-produce ng antibody. Ano yung antibody? Anti-streptolysin O antibody. Can that be detected using a serologic test? Yes. Dinedetect natin yung anti-streptolysin O via anti-streptolysin O test. Wherein ang streptolysin S naman is non-immunogenic, meaning to say, hindi po niya kayang mag-initiate ng immune response. Now, other than the four we've mentioned, ang Streptococcus pyogenes ay meron ding DNAs. So if you remember, ang Staphylococci meron din, especially your Staphylococcus aureus, correct? So ano po ang DNAs, no? Na makikita natin sa group A Streptococcus. So they are serologically classified as A, B, C, and D. Okay? A, B, C, and D. Ang pinaka-common naman dito is B. Okay? B. So, this deoxyribonuclease enzyme is a potent protease. Potent protease because it will interfere also with the phagocytosis. Immunogenic din to. So, meaning to say, nagtitrigger din to ng immune response. Next, we also have the streptokinase. Streptokinase is your fibrinolysin. So, ang Streptococcus pyogenes, meron din po siyang capability na malyse yung mga clot. It is because of the action of the plasmine. So, yung plasminogen, nako-convert niyan sa plasmine at si plasmine yung naglalyse ng clot. So, para saan to? Ginagamit to ng mga Streptococcus pyogenes para kapag natrap sila sa mga blood clot, they can actually escape from the blood clot. So they can still produce infection. Same with DNA, same with streptolysin O, it is also immunogenic. Pero hindi lang to specific sa group A Streptococcus. So makikita rin natin to sa group C and sa group G. Next, another virulence factor is the spreading factor known as hyaluronidase. So pag sinabi nating spreading factor, 'di ba, as I've mentioned, yung skin natin, meron siyang hyaluronic acid. So si hyaluronidase, yung enzyme na nag-hydrolyze sa hyaluronic acid na makikita sa skin or connective tissues natin. So that's why it's called spreading factor, because as long as merong hyaluronic acid, kaya niyang i-hydrolyze, magi-spread yan. Clear? And then we also have your streptococcal pyrogenic exotoxin. This is also known as erythrogenic toxin. Ito naman yung nagkukos ng rash, red spreading rash na tinatawag nating scarlet fever. So we have SPEA, SPEB, SPEC, and SPEF. So ito yung mga iba't ibang klase ng streptococcal pyrogenic exotoxins natin. So all in all, okay, we have 8 virulence factor for Streptococcus pyogenes. Clear? Okay, next, let us proceed to the infections which are caused by Streptococcus pyogenes. The most common is bacterial pharyngitis. Ito yung tinatawag nating strep throat. So this is the most common manifestation or clinical manifestation of GAS or group A streptococci. So other than it, it also causes pyodermal infection. So pyodermal infection, ito yung mga wound infection sa skin, merong impetigo, cellulitis, erysipelas. Okay? So, yung erysipelas, if the portal of entry is the skin, magkakaroon ng erysipelas. Okay? Ano yung characteristic ng lesion? It's raised. No? Raised and then pula. It's usually raised and it's red. And then, there is a massive browny edema and it rapidly advances to a demarcated margin of infection. And then we also have cellulitis. Cellulitis, acute, rapidly spreading infection of the skin as well as the subcutaneous tissue. So kadalasan, nagkakaroon tayo ng cellulitis after mild trauma o kaya a burn, o kaya nagkaroon tayo ng wound, or nagkaroon ng surgical incision. So kadalasan, masakit itong cellulitis na to, no? It's painful, okay? May makikitang swelling, And meron ding erythema. When you say erythema, rashes, redness yun. Okay? So, paano natin madi-differentiate si cellulitis at saka si erysipelas? Kasi pareho silang merong redness, right? Cellulitis is differentiated from erysipelas by two clinical findings. No? In cellulitis, yung lesions not raised. Di ba remember, in erysipelas, lesions are raised. In cellulitis, it's not. It's flat. Okay? And then, the line between the involved and uninvolved tissue is indistinct. Hindi mo makikita yung difference ng involved at saka uninvolved tissue. Unlike in erysipelas, makikita mo talaga yung margin ng infection. Sa cellulitis, hindi. Hindi mo makikita yung margin ng infection. Okay? And then, we also have necrotizing fasciitis. Necrotizing fasciitis or NF. Yung NF po is may tatlo pong klase ng NF. Type 1, type 2, and type 3. This is also known as the flesh-eating bacteria, by the way. Okay. So, yung type 1, ang nagkukos nun ay mga Vibrio. Yung type 2, si gas. Yung type 3, mga Clostridium. Ulitin ko, type 1, commonly Vibrio species. Type 2, Streptococci, especially your group A. And then type 3, caused by Clostridium. Okay? So ano ba yung necrotizing fasciitis? This is an invasive infection that is characterized by rapidly progressing inflammation and necrosis, pagbubulok ng skin. Okay? Necrosis, okay? Pagbulok or pagiging pagbubulok ng tissue, necrotic tissue. Okay? And then, we also have for Streptococcus yung na-mention na natin to sa Staphylococcus, yung TSS. We call it naman dito as streptococcal toxic shock syndrome. So ito yung mga involved na virulence factor. So we have SPEA, M1, and M3, the M protein 1 and then the M3. Now you have to remember sa Staphylococcus aureus naman, ang virulence naman na involved doon ay si TSST1, right? Or previously known as the enterotoxin F. And then, meron tayong tinatawag na post-streptococcal sequelae. Ano naman yan? This is usually a complication after Streptococcus pyogenes infection. So meaning to say, nakaka-acquire nito or nagde-develop yung mga patient na ng rheumatic fever or acute glomerulonephritis after streptococcal pyogenes infection. So either dun sa mga nabanggit natin from numbers 1 to 4. So after nun, after 1 to 3 weeks, nagkakaroon sila ng rheumatic fever or acute glomerulonephritis. Sa rheumatic fever, guys, ang cause or common cause na virulence factor, yung class 1 na M protein. Wherein sa acute glomerulonephritis naman, class 1 and class 2 M proteins. Now, the treatment of choice for Streptococcus pyogenes is penicillin. Okay, next. Punta naman tayo sa virulence factor at sa infection ng Streptococcus agalactiae. So, isa lang ang pinaka-common na ginagamit na virulence factor ni agalactiae, yung capsule niya. Now, the component is sialic acid. So, ulitin ko lang, sa Streptococcus pyogenes, hyaluronic acid capsule. Sa Streptococcus agalactiae, we have sialic acid capsule. Magkaiba ng component, right? Then, eto pong ibang components niya like hemolysin, the CAM factor, neuraminidase, DNase, hindi po ito involved sa virulence, meaning hindi po ito nagkukos ng infection or hindi ito dahilan para mag-cause ng infection si agalactiae. yung capsule lang, yung virulence factor natin. Now, ano ba yung infection? Commonly associated with Agalactiae, we call it the invasive disease of the newborn. So, nakukuha po to ng babies during delivery. Kasi ang Streptococcus agalactiae, commonly makikita to sa vagina, sa vaginal canal, and even in the rectal area. So, kung yung baby is normally delivered, meaning dumaan sa vagina, okay, magkakaroon ng contact, no, sa vaginal wall na merong Streptococcus agalactiae, and they may develop invasive disease of the newborn. Okay, now, let us move on to the workflow. So, simulan natin with the specimen collection. So, yung nabanggit natin na dalawa, si Pyogenes at si Agalactiae, i-differentiate natin yung workflow nila. Okay, for the specimen collection, Streptococcus pyogenes, so sabi nga natin kanina, commonly sa upper respiratory tract, di ba? So, throat swab. Pwede rin po yung CSF and other body fluids or even blood kapag naging systemic yung infection. Usually, ang Streptococcus pyogenes, localized yan sa upper respiratory tract. Pero, pwede din siyang maging systemic. Meaning to say, pwede siyang kumalat sa katawan natin. So, pwede tayong kumuha ng, kung sa CNS, CSF, kung sa nag-produce ng sepsis. Pag sinabi nating sepsis, kumalat yung bacteria sa blood. Okay? Pwede tayong kumuha ng blood. Or kung may pyodermal infection, yung wound, yung lesion, yung pus. Okay? Now, kung swab ang kukunin at kukuha tayo from the throat, kailangan gagamit tayo ng tongue depressor. Bakit? Kasi kailangan nating iwasan yung normal flora ng oral cavity. Kailangan po yung throat mismo, yung tonsillar area, dun tayo makakakuha ng specimen. Kasi pag nag-touch yan sa any part of the oral cavity other than the tonsillar area or the pharynx itself, magkakaroon ng contamination with the normal flora. That's why when you get it, you depress the tongue, gamit yung tongue depressor, and then ipopoke natin yung inflamed na tonsil or yung inflamed na posterior pharynx. Okay? So again, why do we avoid the tongue and the uvula? Because we don't want to contaminate, no, the swab. Kasi di ba remember, ang swab kasi itself, okay, is prone to contamination, easily dries out, and then maaari pong hindi maging viable, no, yung ating organisms. So that's why as much as possible, we try to avoid getting normal flora. And as you know, yung mouth natin, yung pinaka maraming normal flora. So we try to avoid it. Okay? And then, yung transport media para sa Streptococcus pyogenes, hindi naman ganon ka-required. But if meron, mas maganda. Okay? Now, for Streptococcus agalactiae naman, since usually nakukuha siya from the vaginal or the rectal area, so kuha lang tayo ng swab from those areas. Okay? Especially sa mga women. Okay? Kasi 'di ba invasive disease of the newborn ang infection nito. So mga bata yung infected. So usually we get it from between 35 to 37 weeks of gestation, and then the transport medium is either Todd Hewitt broth na merong 10 microgram per ml na colistin, and then limb broth na merong 15 microgram per ml na nalidixic acid. So bakit naman tayo gumagamit nitong mga transport medium na to? Kasi yung rectal area at saka yung vaginal area, marami pong normal flora. So eto pong colistin at saka nalidixic acid, it serves as inhibitor for the transport, for this transport medium. Okay? Then meron pa tayong tinatawag na transvac broth. Transvac broth. So the transvac broth contains 8 microgram per ml na gentamicin, and then 15 microgram per ml na nalidixic acid. So this is another transport medium that you can use, especially if you're suspecting for the presence of Streptococcus agalactiae. Then, we have direct microscopic examination. So, pare-parehas yan. Makikita natin pareho si Streptococcus pyogenes at si Streptococcus agalactiae na gram-positive cocci. Round or oval? Oval, okay, kasi elongated, right? And then, for the culture, ang ginagamit po natin is BAP. Bakit BAP? Kasi gusto nating makita yung hemolytic pattern. Sometimes the BAP may have inhibitors such as sulfamethoxazole or your SMZ or addition ng colistin at saka colimixin B. Now, the incubation period is still the same, 18 to 24 hours yan. Pwedeng aerobically or anaerobically. Pero majority, kapag nagsasuspect tayo ng Streptococcus, nilalagay po natin yan sa loob ng candle jar. Okay? Now, for the colonies, for Streptococcus pyogenes, we have small, diba? Pinpoint colony, transparent, and smooth. Tapos, well-defined yung area ng beta hemolysis. Ito yon. Then, we also have the agalactiae. Ito naman, grayish-white mucoid surrounded by small zone of beta hemolysis. So, kung i-differentiate natin, para silang beta hemolytic pattern, merong clear zone around the colony. But the difference is that mas malawak yung zone or yung clear zone ng pyogenes compared to the agalactiae. Sa agalactiae, you only have a small zone of beta hemolysis. So from this alone, pwede na nating agad magkaroon ng idea kung yan ba ay pyogenes or agalactiae. Then we will perform the microscopic exam. So gram-positive cocci pa rin siya. So kadalasan kapag solid culture plates, they will produce short chain. But if they are cultured in broth, they will produce longer chains. Let us move on to the biochemical test. So catalase. So remember, I told you, catalase negative sila. Walang bubble formation kasi wala silang catalase enzyme. So remember, I told you in Staphylococcus, so ginagamit natin yung mga enzymes nila as biochemical test para ma-detect natin yung characteristic nila. So parang mga tao lang din ng mga bacteria, may iba't ibang characteristic, 'di ba? Halimbawa, paano natin ma-identify halimbawa yung mga kaibigan natin, 'di ba? By their characteristic also, kung anong meron sila, correct? Kung meron silang blue eyes, 'di ba? Green eyes, or kung meron silang matangos na ilong, ganun din ang mga bacteria. Ano bang characteristic nila na pwede nating i-identify? For Staphylococci, meron silang catalase enzyme. Kaya, ginagamit natin ang catalase test to identify them. Correct? Magpa-positive sila doon kasi meron silang catalase enzyme. Ito, mga Streptococci, wala silang catalase enzyme. Kaya naman, hindi sila magpa-positive sa catalase test. Wala tayong makikitang bubble formation. So for bubble formation, positive yan sa Staphylococci and Micrococci, negative yan sa Streptococci at Entero. Wala silang catalase enzyme. Next, proceed with bacitracin. So same, di ba? Ginagawa rin natin to for Staphylococci. So ano ang principle? We're going to determine ano bang effect ng bacitracin, 0.04 unit doon sa organism. Okay, again, ang result natin na hinahanap is zone of inhibition or no zone of inhibition. Anong interpretation? Kapag may zone of inhibition, it is sensitive. Kapag ka naman no zone of inhibition, meaning it is resistant. So, alin dito ang pyogenes? So, pyogenes will be susceptible to bacitracin. Wherein yung ibang beta hemolytic streptococcus, sila group B at saka si group C, hindi po magpapakita ng zone of inhibition. Interpretation, they are resistant. Next, we also perform the PYR test, no? Or your L-pyroglutamyl aminopeptidase test. Ano ba to? Ito or pyrrolidonyl aryl amidase test rather. Ang dinedetect po natin dito ay yung presence ng enzyme na L-pyroglutamyl aminopeptidase. So I've already mentioned this in Staphylococcus, yung L-pyroglutamyl aminopeptidase enzyme, i-hydrolyze niya si L-pyrrolidonyl beta-lactylamide at magkakaroon tayo ng product na beta-naphthylamine. Yung product magre-react dun sa reagent, which is your N,N-methylaminocinnamaldehyde or your P or para-dimethyl aminocinnamaldehyde. At anong magiging product? Magkakaroon tayo ng bright red compound. Kaya merong bright red color. That is also characteristic of your Streptococcus pyogenes. So meron siyang L-pyroglutamyl aminopeptidase enzyme. Okay? So, negative naman po dito yung iba pang beta hemolytic. Sino yon? Si group B at saka si group C. Now, kung PYR at saka bacitracin ang ginagamit natin to identify Streptococcus pyogenes, ano naman ang ginagamit natin to identify Streptococcus agalactiae? Dalawa yan. The hipurate hydrolysis test. So, anong principle nito? Tinitingnan natin, meron bang capability yung organism na i-hydrolyze yung hipurate? Ibig sabihin, hinahanap natin yung anong enzyme? Hipuricase. We're determining if the organism has hipuricase enzyme. If they do, if yung organism, like your Streptococcus agalactiae, meron silang hipuricase enzyme, then they will hydrolyze the hipuric acid forming glycine and benzoic acid. The glycine will be deaminated by the ninhydrine reagent. So this is our reagent. Anong magiging product? Meron tayong purple colored product. So ang positive result, deep purple color. So the medium will become purple or deep purple in color. And then yung negative naman, magiging colorless or slightly pink or yellow, or meron siyang tinge ng purple, but still negative yon. Ang positive po dapat deep yung pagiging purple niya. Pag light lang yung purple, it is still negative. Okay? So, sino nagpapakita nito? Si Streptococcus agalactiae. And yung negative naman, yung iba na beta hemolytic, si pyogenes at saka si equi and this agalactiae. Okay? Next, another is the CAMP test. Ang CAMP test po is known as Christie, Atkins, and Munch-Peterson. So, yan po yung ibig sabihin ng CAMP. Christie, Atkins, and Munch-Peterson. Sila pong tatlo yung naka-discover netong test na to. Kaya tinawag nating CAMP test. So, ano ba principle nito? So, this is used to detect the diffusible extracellular protein. Etong diffusible extracellular protein na to is known as the CAMP factor. Nagre-react to with a beta hemolysin, which is usually found kay Staphylococcus aureus. Anong mangyayari kapag nag-react si CAMP factor at si beta hemolysin? Meron tayong makikitang enhanced lysis ng RBC. Okay? So, ganito po. Paano ba siya ginagawa? So, meron tayong blood agar plate. Siyempre, kailangan natin ng RBC. At the middle, mag-streak tayo ng Staphylococcus aureus. Anong meron ang Staphylococcus aureus? The beta hemolysin. It will react. Kung halimbawang naglagay tayo ng Streptococcus agalactiae perpendicular to the straight streak of Staphylococcus aureus, at kung meron po siyang, anong meron sa kanya? CAMP factor, they will synergistically react with one another. Anong mafo-form? Ito po, arrowhead hemolysis. Okay? So makikita natin yan at the juncture of the two organisms. Sa gitna po ng dalawang organism. So this is negative and this is positive. Okay? So, ito po positive, ito negative. So, ito po yung another representation yan. This is positive. Okay? So, meron kang makikitang arrowhead-shaped zone of beta hemolysis. So, in other books, ang beta hemolysin, tinatawag to as the known factor. Ito namang CAM factor, ito yung unknown factor. Pag sinabi nating known factor, yun yung factor na ginagamit natin to detect the presence of the other factor. Okay, so in this case, meron tayong, yung known factor natin is beta hemolysin and we use it to detect the presence of the CAM factor. So, meron din po tayong tinatawag na reverse CAM factor. So, pag-uusapan natin yan sa Clostridium. Okay? And then, meron tayong CAM inhibition. Okay, test. So, we will further discuss that in other topics. But ngayon, mag-focus muna tayo sa CAM test lang. So, meron tayong known factor at meron tayong unknown factor. Okay, because of the synergistic reaction between the beta hemolysin and the CAM factor, magkakaroon ng enhanced hemolysis which is indicated by the presence of the arrowhead-shaped zone of beta hemolysis na makikita natin at the juncture of the two organisms. So, nag-streak ka ng straight na Orius and then nag-streak ka perpendicular na Agalaxae. Ma'am, kung hindi po Agalaxae yung organism, halimbawa, hindi Agalaxae yung in-streak natin perpendicular to the Staphylococcus aureus, di ibig sabihin walang magiging arrowhead shaped zone of beta hemolysis. So meaning walang nag-react. Okay? Kasi ang may CAM factor lang ay si Streptococcus Agalaxae. Clear? By the way, ang Staphylococcus aureus, you have to remember, nabanggit ko rin to sa discussion sa Staphylococcus, hindi po lagi siyang merong beta hemolysin. May mga Staphylococcus na walang beta hemolysin. May Staphylococcus aureus na may beta hemolysin. Now, you have to make sure na yung gagamitin mong Staphylococcus aureus dito, merong beta hemolysin. Okay? So, paano natin malalaman yon? Kapag nagkaroon ng hemolytic pattern. Si Staphylococcus aureus. Pag walang hemolytic pattern yan na beta, ibig sabihin wala siyang beta hemolysin. So remember, I told you there are two types of hemolytic pattern that is commonly produced by Staphylococcus aureus. Beta and none. So kapag beta hemolytic pattern yung pinapakita niya, sure tayo na meron niyang beta hemolysin. Kapag non-hemolytic yung pattern, wala siyang beta hemolysin. Okay? Next. So of course, ang magpa-positive si Agalaxae and walang enhancement yung other beta hemolytic like your A, si Pyogenes, and si Equi, and this Agalaxae, your group C. So remember, we have a diagram for Staphylococcus, right? So kung naaalala ninyo, kapag nakakita ka ng gram-positive na cocci, kahit ano pang arrangement niyan, anong gagawin natin na test? Biochemical test, catalase. Right? Catalase. Kapag nag-positive, you will suspect for the presence of Staphylococcus and Micrococcus. But if it is negative, anong isa-suspect natin? Streptococcus and Enterococcus. So, eto po yung continuation nung diagram natin last week. Diba? Meron tayong diagram for staph and micrococci. Now, for streptococci and enterococci, halimbawang nag-negative sa catalase, magpo-proceed ba agad tayo sa bacitracin? No. Okay? So, hindi po. Kailangan mo munang i-determine yung hemolytic pattern. Uulitin ko. Pag nag-gram-positive cocci, anong unang gagawin? Kahit ano pa ang arrangement. In cluster, in chain, in pair, in tetrads, irregular cluster, maggagawa ka ng catalase. Pag nag-positive, gawin mo yung diagram nung para sa staph at micrococci. Kung nag-negative naman, hindi ka pwedeng dumiretso sa bacitracin. Bakit? Kasi, remember, we classified streptococci according to hemolytic pattern. So, kapag naging beta, tsaka pa lang tayo magpo-proceed sa bacitracin. Pag alpha, magpo-proceed tayo sa optocin. Kapag naman non, gagawa po tayo ng bea or bile-esculin. Okay? So remember this. For the bacitracin, halimbawa, beta hemolytic pattern siya. No? Nag-proceed tayo ng catalase test, nag-negative, tapos yung hemolytic pattern sa BAP, kung tinignan mo, ay beta. May clear zone of hemolysis. Anong gagawin? Bacitracin. Kapag naging susceptible sa bacitracin, anong gagawin? Okay? Magko-confirm tayo ng presence ng Streptococcus pyogenes, meaning to say, Group A, Streptococci yan, kasi sensitive sa bacitracin. You can confirm this by doing PYR, kasi positive din si Streptococcus pyogenes sa PYR. Kung resistant naman, tsaka tayo magpo-proceed sa CAMP. Okay? So, CAMP or hipurate hydrolysis test. So, kapag positive, si group B yun, si Streptococcus agalactiae. But if it is negative, possibly group D yun. Okay? Bakit ma'am nagkaroon tayo ng group D dyan? Di ba nga, sabi ko kanina, hindi po ibig sabihin na non-hemolytic pattern siya, always non-hemolytic pattern ang ipoproduce niya. Maaaring nagpakita or pwede rin siyang magpakita ng beta or alpha. Kaya pag nag-negative sa bacitracin, nag-negative sa CAMP, nag-negative sa PYR, nag-negative sa hipurate hydrolysis, hindi A, hindi B. Okay? Possibly, other beta, hemolytic streptococci, sino yung other beta na tinutukoy natin dito? Di si C. Hindi si A, hindi si B, at hindi din si B. Or yung ibang group D, streptococci. You understand? Okay, next. Dudugtungan pa natin yung diagram na yan later on. No? Pagka nag-proceed na tayo sa mga alpha. So, tapusin natin tong alpha. So, for alpha, guys, we have Streptococcus pneumoniae. So, again, si Streptococcus pneumoniae, under siya ng Viridan streptococci. Bakit? Kasi nagpapakita rin siya ng alpha hemolytic pattern. So, bakit wala siyang Lancefield classification? Kasi wala siyang C carbohydrate. Okay? Wala siyang C carbohydrate. Meaning, wala siyang Lancefield classification. Okay. Anong meron sa cell wall niya? Ang counterpart ng Lancefield antigen ay the C substance. Hindi C carbohydrate, C substance. Clear? Now, ang virulence factor niya is also the capsular polysaccharide. So, kadalasan, kapag may capsule, ang Streptococcus pneumoniae, virulent siya. Meaning, capable siyang mag-produce ng infection. Pero pag wala siyang capsule, non-virulent or yung tinatawag nating avirulent, non-pathogenic. Pag walang kapsula, pag may capsule, virulent. Pag wala, avirulent or non-pathogenic. So, yung capsule din mismo ang ginagamit natin para malaman natin kung anong serotype. So, meron pa tayong iba't ibang serological typing for Streptococcus pneumoniae. So, ito yung other products. May hemolysin, immunoglobulin A protease, hyaluronidase, and neuraminidase. Now, the treatment of choice is still penicillin. Next, ano naman ang infection? So, pneumonia. Ito po yung pinaka number 1 na cause ng pneumonia, lalong-lalo na sa mga immunocompromised patients. So other than pneumonia, this causes sinusitis, otitis media, bacteremia, and even meningitis. So ito yung mga vaccines. So kadalasan binibigay natin tong mga vaccines na to sa mga elderly patients and also sa mga patients na merong mga underlying diseases. So we have the PC7, the PC13, and the PC23. Yung number refers to the serotype na pwedeng labanan nung vaccine na yan. So halimbawa, PC7, 7 serotypes ng Streptococcus pneumoniae ang kaya niyang i-counter. PCV13, 13 serotypes. Usually, ito yung mga binibigay natin sa mga bata. Okay? Yung PC7 and 13. Sa mga matatanda po, usually yung PS23. So meron siyang 23 capsular polysaccharide or 23, it is against the 23 serotypes of Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay? So ano yung heptavalent? Heptavalent is your PC7. So uulitin ko, ito yung binibigay sa mga bata. So usually kasi pag bata, mga less than 5 years old, okay, di ba, very prone to pneumonia. Especially yung mga infant, di ba? So they are prone to pneumonia because they are considered immunocompromised. Okay, now, let us talk about the viridans streptococci. So as I've mentioned earlier, group 2 ito. Hindi to pangalan ng bacteria. Pangalan to ng group of bacteria. So we have 5 groups under, 5 subgroups under the viridans streptococcus. So we have your S. mitis group, Streptococcus mitis group, Streptococcus mutans, Streptococcus salivarius, Streptococcus bovis, and Streptococcus aeruginosus. Majority of this are part of the normal microbiota or normal flora of our upper respiratory tract, especially, okay, both in male and female. Also makikita to sa female genital tract and sa GIT, gastrointestinal tract. So viridans, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, ang ibig pong sabihin yan ay green. Kasi ano bang kulay ng alpha hemolytic pattern? Green. Diba? Green discoloration. So again, uulitin ko lang, hindi dahil nilagay natin sila sa alpha hemolytic pattern, always silang magpapakita ng alpha hemolysis. Pwede rin sila magpakita ng beta and non-hemolytic pattern. Okay? So these are fastidious organisms because they require carbon dioxide for growth. Now, among these 5 subgroups, yung mga antigens na kadalasan nating makikita, di ba, sa bovis, anong sabi ko kanina? Group D. Kay mitis, mutans, salivarius, at aeruginosus, anong makikita natin? A, C, F, G, and N antigen. Again, bovis, group D. Mitis, mutans, salivarius, aeruginosus, group A, C, F, G, and N. Now, for the infection, guys, the most common cause of SBE, subacute bacterial endocarditis, and also common cause of oral infections such as gingivitis and dental caries, yung mga bulok ng ngipin. Okay, now for the virulence factor, for the aeruginosus group, meron din siyang polysaccharide capsule at saka cytolysine. Yung aeruginosus group po is commonly oral and gastrointestinal microbiota. Again, aeruginosus, oral, and GIT, normal flora. Then we have yung mitis, oral cavity, ano pa, GIT, and also female genital tract. So, normal flora din sila niyan. Okay? Pero majority of them, no? Majority of them are commonly found in the upper respiratory tract. So, si mitis, si mutans, si salivarius, aeruginosus, okay? Then, we have group C and group G streptococci. So, meaning, ito yung merong mga C antigen and G antigen. So, ito yung mga virulence factors nila. So, merong M, SLO, hyaluronidase, and also DNase. And then, yung group D streptococci at S bovis group, uulitin ko, meron silang D antigen. Okay? Now, for the workflow, kadalasan dahil nga makikita sila sa upper respiratory tract, mga respiratory tract specimens. For the direct microscopic examination, ito. Ang pinagkaiba ni Streptococcus pneumoniae sa lahat ng Streptococcus, guys, isa siyang diplococci. So, pag sinabi nating diplococci, okay, ito po, yung diplococci. So, you have lancet-shaped cocci, which are usually appearing by pair. Okay? Appearing by pair. So, and then, when they are usually isolated or you collected from effusion, meaning yung mga fluids, okay, body fluids, so they will appear as gram-positive pneumococci with numerous WBC, and then kung sa CSF naman, in pairs kadalasan. Cocci lang siya sa CSF, no? Pero may kasama pa rin mga WBC. Diretso sa specimen na microscopic or bacterial smear. Okay, the direct smear, right? Then, ang Viridans streptococcus naman usually appear in chain. Gram-positive cocci sila in chain. For the culture, so we have the BHI, so your brain-heart infusion, TSB, trypticase soy broth, but of course, dapat may presence ng RBCs or may presence ng blood. So, in the culture media preparation, we did not perform blood agar plate. We did not prepare it, but let me just discuss kung paano siya ginagawa. Kasi not only important ito sa streptococci, but also for staphylococci. So remember, nag-weigh tayo, and then nag-dissolve. And then nag-sterilize. And then finally, nag-dispense. So, may mabibili po ba tayo, ma'am, na culture media na may blood na? Wala po. Ang mabibili lang natin para makagawa tayo ng BAP, yung tinatawag nating basal medium. For blood agar plate. Okay? Meaning, nagdadagdag tayo ng blood para magkaroon ng intact RBC. Kailan nangyayari yon? So you try to recall, 'di ba? After ng sterilization. 'Di ba? Nag-weigh ka ng powder, tsaka ng water, nag-dissolve tayo by heat, then tsaka tayo nag-sterilize. So after sterilization, diyan pa lang tayo magdadagdag ng blood. So yung blood can be from sheep, can be from horse, or can be from human. But of course, the most ideal is sheep. Ilan po dinadagdag natin? 5%. Paano natin kino-compute yung 5%? Yung volume yung 5% na yan. So that will depend on how much you prepared. So let's say, for example, nag-prepare tayo ng 100 ml, no, na basal medium for BAP. Ilan ang volume ng blood na idadagdag natin? So what is the 5% of 5 ml? So that is what is the 5% of 100 ml? So that is 5 ml. So madadagdag tayo ng 5 ml na blood, either sheep, horse, or human blood. Okay? But the ideal, okay, is defibrinated blood. Defibrinated. Meaning, tinanggal natin yung fibrin. Okay? So, defibrinated blood, 5 ml. So, another example, kung 200 ml, okay, na basal medium, ilan ang idadagdag natin na blood? Ilan ang 5% ng 200? That is 10 ml. Clear? Pag nakapagdagdag na tayo ng blood, tsaka natin siya i-dispense sa plate. So, ganun lang po yung process nun. Okay? So, you have to make sure na yung blood is not contaminated also. Kasi pag contaminated yung blood na gagamitin mo, okay, contaminated na rin, pati yung basal medium mo. So, usually, usually, na-maintain natin yung sterility ng blood kapag kinolect din natin siya sa mga sterile na materials. You understand? So halimbawa, pag nag-collect tayo ng human blood, so dapat ilalagay mo siya sa sterile na Erlenmeyer flask. Right? So pag nag-collect tayo ng blood from the ship, dapat ilalagay natin yan sa sterile na Erlenmeyer flask. Okay? Bago natin ilagay doon sa ating basal medium. Clear? Okay, next. So let's continue. For the alpha hemolytic streptococci, so same, 18 to 24 hours, pero eto po, kailangan ng increase carbon dioxide. So, kadalasan kapag nag-e-expect tayo ng streptococci, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina sa mga beta hemolytic, saan natin nilalagay? Sa candle jar. Okay? Ano ba yung candle jar? So, ang candle jar po is a glass jar wherein meron po itong candle sa loob. Kaya siya tinawag na candle jar. So, dito po natin i-stack, pagpapatong-patungin, inverted, yung mga plates. Okay, paano siya nagkaroon ng increased amount of carbon dioxide? Okay, so halimbawa, 'di ba, ilalagay natin si plate. Sisindihan natin yung candle sa loob. Ilalagay sa loob, tatakpan. Okay? And then, we put this inside the incubator. What is the principle behind this? Bakit tayo naglalagay ng candle na merong sindi? Okay. The flame of the candle will combust the remaining oxygen inside the candle jar. Kaya naman, kapag nababawasan ang oxygen, ano nangyayari sa carbon dioxide? Nag-i-increase yung carbon dioxide. Okay, you have to remember, 18% decrease of oxygen is equivalent to 1% increase in carbon dioxide. Clear? So, just to tell you, kaya ko to diniscuss, dahil ang Streptococcus pneumoniae, especially, kailangan niya ng carbon dioxide. Kaya naman, in the laboratory, whenever you're suspecting for an upper respiratory tract pathogen, you always put it in the BAP, and the BAP should always be inside the candle jar. And the candle jar should be placed also inside the incubator. You understand? Kasi, ma'am, paano kung nagsuspect lang tayo ng Staphylococcus? Tutubo pa rin ba yan? Kahit na ilagay natin. Kasi ang Staphylococcus is also cultured in BAP. Tutubo pa rin ba yan? Yes. Kasi ang Staphylococcus aureus naman is facultative anaerobe. With or without oxygen, mabawasan man ng oxygen, okay, wala mang oxygen, pwede pa rin tumubo ang Staphylococci. So, walang mangyayari sa kanya. So, para sigurado, pero kapag Streptococci, tas di mo nilagay sa candle jar, kailangan niya ng carbon dioxide, hindi tutubo yan. Do you understand? So, kahit na anong organism pa yan, basta pinilagay natin sa blood agar plate, nilalagay po natin yan sa loob ng candle jar. Walang mangyayari kay Aureus, huwag kayong mag-alala kasi facultative anaerobe naman siya. Pero kung halimbawang Streptococcus pneumoniae yung present, tas di mo nilagay sa candle jar, hindi po yan tutubo. Kasi nga, ang Streptococcus pneumoniae is a fastidious organism which requires carbon dioxide, increase carbon dioxide for growth. Clear? Okay, so ano na yan na, parang rule of thumb na natin yon. So pag may BAP, kailangan sa loob ng candle jar nilalagay. Naintindihan? Okay, next. Ano naman ang colony? So ang pneumoniae po is mucoid. Bakit mucoid? Kasi may capsule. Okay? Dome shape. Donut pa nga yung appearance niya. Kasi meron siyang tinatawag na Coin, eto. Yan. Coin with a raised ring colony. Okay, ganito. At the beginning, between 12 hours to 24 hours of incubation, yung colony ng Streptococcus pneumoniae is actually dome-shaped. Ganito talaga yan. Okay? Pero, if it is already beyond 24 hours, yung dome shape na yan, nagiging donut. Or yung tinatawag nating coin with a raised rim. So, nagkakaroon ng depression sa gitna. Nagiging ganyan. Clear? Kasi, meron siyang tinatawag natin na autolytic capability. Ibig sabihin, kaya niyang i-lyse yung sarili niyang colony. Kaya nade-depress yung gitna. So, description kapag nakakita tayo nito is coin with a raised rim colony or donut colonies. Understood? Okay. Next, ang mga viridans Streptococcus naman, dome lang yan. Okay? Smooth or matte colony. So, pareho silang alpha hemolytic yung pattern. But again, hindi laging alpha, especially the viridans, no? Pwede silang maging non-hemolytic or even beta hemolytic. So, for the microscopic exam, magkaiba. Kapag pneumoniae, ano ang shape? Diba? Anong morphology? It's diplococci. Viridans is only cocci. So, ang mga pneumoniae, also known as pneumococcus. Okay? Kasi nga, they usually are presenting with diplococci morphology. Next, so ito, napakita ko na to kanina, yung coin with the raised rim colony. Ito yung diplococci. Yan, nakikita nyo laging in pair. And then, we have the viridans Streptococcus. Ito yung alpha, di ba? Alpha. Ayan, alpha din yan. So, they're usually appearing in chain. Typical of Streptococcus, no? In chain, ang arrangement. Then, we have the biochemical test. So, sabi ko nga kanina, di ba, catalase. Anong gagawin kapag nag-positive? So, gawin natin yung diagram ng Staphylococcus and Micrococcus. Pero, kapag nag-negative yan, anong sunod na gagawin? You look for the hemolytic pattern. If it is beta, next thing to do is bacitracin. For gamma, the next thing to do is optocin. By the way, bacitracin is also known as taxo-A. Optocin is also known as taxo-P. Right? And then we have the non-hemolytic. Sa non-hemolytic, we perform bile esculin. Okay, so dito na tayo kay optocin. Ano ba tong optocin na to? So, this is to determine the same with the principle, no, of any anti-susceptibility testing. Titingnan natin ano yung effect ng optocin antibiotic disc sa organism. Magpo-produce ba yan ng zone of inhibition or hindi? By the way, ang optocin, ang chemical name nito is ethyl hydrocoprin hydrochloride. Okay? Ethyl hydrocoprin hydrochloride. Then, ang ine-expect po natin na result for the optocin, if it is Streptococcus pneumoniae, dapat may zone of inhibition, more than 14 millimeter. Okay? More than 14 millimeter. And then, no zone of inhibition naman kung ibang alpha, especially if that is Streptococcus viridans. Next, biosolubility test. So, this is to know whether the organism, after the addition of bile salt or sodium desoxycholate. Okay, so if you will be reading Mahon or even Baylis and Scott's or even Jowett's, makikita mo yung sodium desoxycholate is also known as sodium deoxycholate. Ma'am, pareho ba yan? Yes. Okay? Sodium desoxy or sodium deoxycholate. Same with bromthymol blue. Diba? Bromthymol blue can be also bromothymol blue. Okay? Chemical names. Oh, by the way, bile solubility test, ulit, is for to detect if your Streptococcus pneumoniae especially yung colony niya will be lysed upon the addition of bile or solution of bile salt. So again, the chemical name is sodium desoxycholate for bile salt. So yung bile salt kasi, ang ginagawa niya, it will lower the surface tension between yung bacterial cell and the medium. So pag inad natin siya on top of the surface of the medium, katulad nito, anong nangyayari? Nalalize yung colonies. This will accelerate. Hindi talaga siya yung naglalize. Na-accelerate niya lang. Di ba may autolytic capability ang mga Staphylococcus aureus, kaya Staphylococcus Streptococcus pneumoniae rather, di ba may autolytic capability ang Streptococcus pneumoniae, na-accelerate lang ni bile salt. 'Di ba nga, kapag kinulture natin sila, at the beginning, dome shape siya, between 12 to 24, pero pag naging more than 24, nade-depress na yung colony. Kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng donut shape. The same reason here in biosolubility test. Kaya po nagkakaroon ng lysing ng colony dahil dun sa autolytic process niya. Na-accelerate lang ni sodium desoxycholate. So, eto po yung positive result natin kapag plated, yung medium. Paano kung tube? Okay, na broth. Anong positive result? So, makikita mo, eto po, turbid. Correct? Negative yan. Ibig sabihin, hindi na-lyse yung colony. Yung positive po natin, na clear, yun yung lysed. Okay? So, pag tube, ang hinahanap natin na result is clear. Kapag negative naman, turbid. Clear broth, turbid broth. Clear? Next. So, of course, yung lysed colony is your Streptococcus pneumoniae, intact naman kapag yung ibang alpha hemolytic. Next. Antigenic test for Streptococcus pneumoniae. This is the Kelang reaction. So, ang principle nito is yung Streptococcus pneumoniae, imimix natin yan with a specific anti-polysaccharide serum. Ang target nito yung polysaccharide sa cell wall ng Streptococcus pneumoniae. So, sa slide to ginagawa. So, pag dinagdag na natin yung specific anti-polysaccharide serum, anong mangyayari sa cell wall ng Streptococcus pneumoniae? Magsuswell. This will be seen under the microscope. Makikita to under the microscope. Okay? And then, this is very useful, lalong-lalo na kung rapid identification ang kailangan. So, hindi na natin kailangan i-culture pa yan from the specimen, no? Itself, pwede na nating idagdag yung anti-polysaccharide serum na yan. So, pwede po yan sa diretso sa specimen or pwede rin nating kuhanin yung culture, no? Or yung colony mula sa culture. So, anyway, pareho lang naman ang magiging result natin. Mas mabilis siya kaysa magpatubo pa tayo. Clear? So, anong positive result? Swelling. Negative result, no swelling of the capsule. Next, we have the lab test, leucine aminopeptidase. So, detection ng enzyme na lab. So, yung substrate natin, which is the leucine beta-naphthylamide, will react with the enzyme, leucine aminopeptidase. Meron tayong mapoproduce na beta-naphthylamine, mag-react with the cinnamaldehyde reagent, and the color will be red. So, positive po ito sa mga Viridae streptococci, negative naman in other streptococci. But mind you guys, hindi lang talaga si viridans ang nagpa-positive dito, no? Hindi ito specific only for viridans. This also is positive for Streptococcus pneumoniae and even other streptococci. So, merong ibang streptococci na nagne-negative sa lab test. Okay, so this is a non-specific test. Next, so ito naman yung iba pang ito pa yung iba pang test na pwede nating gamitin to differentiate the viridans groups, Anginosus, bovis, mitis, mutans, and salivarius group. So according to Manetol. So ang technique po dito para madaling ma-memorize, okay? So all are, limbawa, for mannitol and sorbitol, all are negative. All viridans streptococci cannot ferment mannitol and sorbitol except for mutants. So nakita niyo naman, negative lahat except for mutants. Then for Voges-Proskauer, all are negative except for the mutants. Correct? Sorry, all are positives. So except for the mitis. Sorry. Again, for Voges-Proskauer, para ano nga ulit yung principle natin for Voges-Proskauer, this is to detect the presence of neutral end products. So ibig sabihin, lahat ng viridans streptococci nakaka-detect or nakakapag-produce ng neutral end products except for the mitis group. Kasi negative siya sa Voges-Proskauer. Then, hydrolysis ng arginine, all are negative except for the Anginosus. Then, for urease, except for the salivarius, which can be positive for the urease, and these are the hemolytic pattern. So, for the diagram, so continuation lang po ito. So again, diba, catalase. Pag positive, si staph. Pag negative, anong gagawin? Differentiate natin yung hemolytic pattern. Pag beta, bacitracin. Pag alpha, optocin. And kapag non, bile esculin. Correct? So, as you can see here, nag-perform tayo since alpha, yung hemolytic pattern, nagawa tayo ng optocin. Kapag naging susceptible kay optocin or kay Toxo-P, Streptococcus pneumoniae yun. Ano yung other confirmatory test natin? Bile solubility. No? Positive. And then, kapag naging resistant. Okay, bakit tayo gumawa ng bile esculin? Kasi, sabi nga natin kanina, yung group D, okay, and even the enterococci. Anong grupo to? According to hemolytic pattern, ito po ay mga non-hemolytic, di ba? Pwede rin po itong magpakita ng beta or ng alpha. Kaya naman, kapag naging resistant siya sa optocin, gumagawa tayo ng bile esculin muna. So, ginagamit natin si bile esculin to screen. Kasi nag-negative na sa optocin eh. Okay? So, gawa natin siya ng bile esculin just to make sure na hindi siya group D at hindi siya enterococcus. Kapag nag-positive sa bile esculin, gagawa tayo ng 6.5 sodium chloride at PYR kasi kailangan nating i-differentiate si enterococcus at saka si group D. Pero kung nag-positive sa bile esculin, edi sure tayong viridan siya. Nakukuha? Kasi guys, maraming viridans. Okay, so we have to perform another test just to make sure that it is really the viridans. And then if it is really viridans, saan pa siya magpa-positive? Sa lab. Okay, leucine aminopeptidase. Clear po yun? Next. So punta tayo sa mga enterococcus. Ang enterococcus, as I mentioned earlier, is a previous member of the streptococci, specifically yung group D. Kasi guys, si group D at saka si enterococcus ay parehong merong D antigen. Okay? Anong difference nila? Bakit natin hiniwalay ang enterococcus sa mga group D, streptococci? For the reason that, number 1, they are halophilic organism. They can tolerate salt. Another, they can also tolerate alkaline pH and even can tolerate increased temperature. Yan po ay hindi kaya ng mga streptococci. Hindi sila halophilic, hindi nila kayang i-tolerate ang alkaline pH at hindi nila kayang i-tolerate ang increased temperature. So what am I talking about? So, 6.5 sodium chloride can only be tolerated by Enterococcus. Okay, 45 degrees Celsius temperature can be tolerated by Enterococcus and also the alkaline pH. And as I've mentioned, sila po ay pwedeng magpakita ng non-alpha at beta. Kaya naman, if you recall, kapag nag-negative sa optogene or naging resistant, gagawan muna natin sila ng bile esculin. Bakit? Para ma-screen natin. Is it really the viridans or is it really the Enterococcus or group D streptococci? Okay? Next. So, by the way, for the catalase test, you remember nung nag-perform tayo, mula sa BAP, ang ginamit natin, hindi loop. Right? And also, ideally, hindi dapat manggaling sa BAP. Kasi, meron tayong tinatawag na pseudo-catalase reaction. Okay, ano yung pseudo-catalase reaction na yan? Ang BAP kasi, guys, meron siyang hemoglobin. Okay? Meron siyang hemoglobin, di ba? Yung BAP may RBC. Yung RBC may hemoglobin. Anong meron kay hemoglobin? Si hemoglobin may peroxidase activity na tinatawag nating pseudo-catalase reaction kasi kamukha yan ng pagbabubble formation. So, magiging false positive. Kaya hindi tayo dapat kumuha sa BAP. And mind you, hindi rin tayo pwedeng gumamit ng nichrome wire. Ano ba yung nichrome wire? Ito po yung makikita natin sa inoculating loop or inoculating needle. Kasi pwede rin pong mag-react si nichrome wire kay hydrogen peroxide. Magkakaroon din tayo ng pseudo-catalase reaction. You understand? So, whenever you perform catalase test, hindi po dapat manggaling sa BAP at hindi rin po dapat tayo gumamit ng nichrome wire. Kasi maaari pong mag-react yung hydrogen peroxide sa nichrome wire at pwede pong mag-produce ng pseudo-catalase reaction from the peroxidase activity of the hemoglobin from the RBC in the BAP. Okay? So, ang Enterococcus din, meron din siyang pseudo-catalase reaction. So, ang pinaka-common po na Enterococcus species ay sila Fecalis at saka Cetaceum. But not only limited to that, no? Meron din tayong Durans, Avium, Caseliflavus, Gallinarum, and Raffinosus or Enterococcus raffinosus. Okay, now, let's talk about the virulence factor of the most commonly isolated Enterococcus in the laboratory, Enterococcus fecalis. So this is containing extracellular surface adhesine proteins, mga serine protease, gelatinase, and cytolysine. So similar ito sa mga bacteriocin na makikita sa mga gram-positive bacteria. So yung infection, UTI, bacteremia, no, and endocarditis in elderly patients. Okay? Ang Enterococcus po, majority of them are PYR positive also. Okay? So, next, pag-usapan natin si Group D, Streptococcus. So, majority are under the group of the S. bovis ng viridans. So, meron siyang 4 na DNA clusters. So we have DNA cluster 1, the Streptococcus equinus. Usually sa makikita to sa animals. DNA cluster 2, it ferments mannitol, no? And pinaka-common dito sila Streptococcus galliolyticus. So yung mga subspecies ay si Streptococcus galliolyticus, subspecies galliolyticus, or Streptococcus galliolyticus subspecies Pasturianus and Streptococcus galliolyticus subspecies Macedonius. So these are the most common causes of human endocarditis and even colon carcinoma. Then DNA cluster 3 naman, si Streptococcus infantarius, subspecies infantarius, and Streptococcus infantarius, subspecies coli. DNA cluster 4, Streptococcus alactolyticus. So, etong mga Streptococcus na to, if they infect human, associated po sa UTI and other bacteremia, especially yung mga nagre-receive ng hemodialysis. Okay, hemodialysis. Next, so let's identify how were they isolated and how are they identified. One, specimen collection. So this depends on where they are found, where they infect, no? Pwedeng sa pag nag-cause sila ng bacteremia, edi blood. Pag nag-cause ng urinary tract infection, urine. Pag nag-cause ng mga wound infection, sa wound. So direct microscopic exam, you will see gram-positive cocci. Then for culture, you can use TSB, BHI with 5% ship's blood. So kailangan pa rin natin ng intact RBC para makita natin yung hemolytic pattern. So ito yung iba pang mga culture media. So we have the BEA, the pile esquilene azide agar, the CNA, the phenylethyl alcohol, and the cephalexin aztreosam arabinose agar. So ito rin, ito hindi naman maarte when it comes to carbon dioxide. So pwede natin tong patubuin even without the presence of carbon dioxide. Okay lang yun sa kanila. Hindi naman sila nag-e-expect ng mataas na level ng carbon dioxide. Kasi even inside the incubator, meron na rin namang carbon dioxide content doon, no? So, but again, as I told you, para sigurado tayo, kasi 'di ba, ang Streptococcus pneumoniae, Streptococcus din 'yan. 'Di ba? Nagre-require yan ng mataas na carbon dioxide. So, kahit ano pa yung ine-expect natin na tutubo for basta BAP ang ginamit natin, kailangan po ilagay yan sa candle jar. Hindi rin naman to maarte. Kahit na nasa loob ng candle jar to, tutubo pa rin po. Similar with staphylococci. Okay, next, macroscopic, small, cream, white, okay, alpha, beta, or none, but commonly non-hemolytic. Microscopic exam, gram-positive cocci in short chain. So katulad ng karamihan ng strep, di ba? Naka-chain. For the biochemical test, you can use arginine hydrolysis, 0.04 telluride tolerance. They may utilize pyruvate. They are resistant to 100 microgram erythromycin acid, and they are motile. Now, in terms of the PYR, they are also positive. No, PYR test. So, again, 'di ba? Pag gram-positive yung cocci, gawa tayo ng catalase. Correct? Tapos, after that, kapag nag-positive, you suspect for the presence of staphylococci and enterococci. Then for negative, tingnan natin si hemolytic pattern. Alpha, beta, or none. Ulit, kapag beta, bacitracin, taxo A, right? Kapag alpha, perform optocin, or taxo P. Kapag none, perform tayo ng bile esculin. Okay? Bile esculin test. So, once na nag-positive yan sa bile esculin, perform tayo ng 6.5 sodium chloride test. Bakit? Kasi, sabi nga natin kanina, para ma-differentiate natin, ano-ano ba yung ulit yung non? Group D at saka entero. Bakit nga ulit at the first place nahiwalay si Enterococcus? Dahil nga kaya niyang mag-tolerate ng mataas na salt concentration, right? So siya yung magpa-positive sa 6.5 sodium chloride. Or if you perform PYR, pwede rin. Positive din siya sa PYR, wherein ang group B will be negative. And then once na nag-negative po sa bile esculin, iba pang non-hemolytic streptococci yan. Okay? So these are the other tests that you can perform to differentiate the species, no, of Enterococci. So, ano bang ibig sabihin nito? Mot is motility. This one is mannitol. Sor is sorbose. That's a carbohydrate. Ara is arabinose. Raf is raffinose. Double F, raffinose. Tel is tellurite. Then arg is arginine. This is pyruvate. And then this is methyl alpha D glucopyranoside. So, tulad ng itinuro ko sa inyo, no, huwag i-memorize na negative, negative, positive, positive. And then i-memorize yung buong table. So, just a tip para madaling memorize to. Halimbawa, all are non-motile except Bacilliflavus and Gallinaro. Gagamit tayo ng exemption. So, isa-summarize natin siya para mas madaling matandaan. Okay? So, eto po yung complete diagram. Sabi nga natin, pag nakakita ng gram-positive, anong gagawin? Magka-catalase. Kapag nag-negative, streptococci yan or entero. So ano naman ang next na gagawin? Tignan ang hemolytic pattern. So ulit, kapag ka-beta ang hemolytic pattern, you perform either PYR or bacitracin. Once it's become positive for PYR or susceptible for the bacitracin or taxo A, that is Streptococcus pyogenes. But if not, perform tayo ng hipurate hydrolysis or ng CAMP test. Pag nag-positive sa pareho, then it's group B. If it is negative, o screen pa natin, gawa pa tayo ng bile esculin. Kung talagang negative, tsaka tayo magre-report ng C. Beta hemolytic na hindi A, hindi B, hindi D. Eh di sino yun? Letter C yun. Kung nag-positive naman sa bile esculin, eh bakit magpa-positive sa bile esculin ng beta? Kasi nga, si Enterococcus at saka si group P, hindi lang naman laging non-hemolytic ang pattern nila. Pwede rin silang magpakita ng alpha or group B. So pag nag-negative sa bacitracin, nag-negative sa PYR, nag-negative sa hipurate, nag-negative sa CAMP test, negative sa negative sa bile esculin, pero nag-positive sa PYR or 6.5 sodium chloride, then it is Enterococcus. Nakukuha yon? So, susundan nyo lang yung diagram. So, para madali itong matatandaan, tandaan nyo muna yung mga test na ginagawa per species. Halimbawa, for Streptococcus pyogenes, saan ba sila nagpa-positive? Dalawa lang naman yon, PYR, bacitracin. Correct? Agalactase ang nagpa-positive sa CAMP tsaka sa hipurate hydrolysis test. Correct? So, kapag naman alpha hemolytic pattern, then you perform Optochin or your taxo P. Pag nag-sensitive, Streptococcus pneumoniae. Ano pa yung isa nating ginagawang test? Bile solubility test. Positive din siya dyan. At saka, positive din yan sa kelang reaction. Kung negative, mag-bile esculin tayo bago natin ma-differentiate kung viridans ba talaga yan or yung alpha hemolytic na Enterococcus or group T. Pag non-hemolytic, edi yung bile esculin. Okay? So positive, perform ng PYR or 6.5 at matotolerate yan ng Enterococcus. Well, kapag nag-negative pero positive sa bile esculin, here group T. So kapag negative pa rin sa bile esculin, di non-hemolytic streptococci ang ire-report natin. Okay? So let us proceed to the other Streptococcus-like bacteria. So we have Abiatrophia and Granulicatella species. These are previously identified as nutritionally variant streptococci. So eto po, fastidious kasi nagre-require sila ng sulfhydrid compounds for growth. Commonly, yung medium na ginagamit natin for them to propagate, dapat merong additional na 10 microgram or milligram per liter. Okay, 10 milligram per liter na pyridoxal hydrochloride. They are the source of the sulfhydryl compounds for growth. Commonly, normal flora to ng oral cavity and even the GIT. So, paano kung walang pyridoxal hydrochloride? Paano natin sila patutubuin? So, dito na po papasok ngayon si satellitism. So, pwede natin silang i-culture sa BAP as long as meron pong culture ng Staphylococcus aureus. Tutubo po dyan si Abiatrophia at saka si Granulicatella. Ang tawag po sa phenomenon na yan is satellitism. So, kinukuha nila yung sulfhydryl compounds mula kay Staphylococcus aureus. Tutubo sila in the presence of Staphylococcus aureus. Ang tawag dito sa phenomenon nito is satellitism. Next, biochemical test. So, they can produce alpha galactosidase, beta galactosidase, and even the beta glucuronidase. They may also be positive in butyrate hydrolysis, arginine hydrolysis, and they produce acid from trehalose and starch. Next is the Aerococcus. So these are common airborne organism and opportunistic. Pag sinabi natin opportunistic, commonly infecting immunocompromised patients. So, immunocompromised patients, kadalasan nagkakaroon sila ng bacteremia, endocarditis, and UTI. So, similar po ito sa ibang mga streptococci na pinapatubo natin sa BAP, okay? And similar to sa staphylococci in terms of the in terms of the microscopic exam. So, there are two common Aerococcus species. We have the viridans and the urinae. So how do we identify and differentiate them? Ang viridans is positive for bile esculin and PYR, wherein ang urinae negative for both. Then we have the gemella. So similar for viridans, similar to viridans in terms of the colonial morphology. So, pwedeng maging alpha or non-hemolytic. Then, the most common is the Gemella hemolyzans. Next, Lactococcus species. So, previously, sila po ay under group N kasi meron silang N antigen. So, commonly caused of UTI and endocarditis. So, physiologically, they're similar to enterococci. So how do you differentiate them from enterococci? Kaya po nilang mag-produce ng acid from carbohydrates. Then, we have the leuconostoc and the pediococcus. So mga catalase-negative organisms din to. This is how you will identify them. So pareho silang positive with bile esculin. So sa lab test, si pediococcus ang positive. Pareho silang negative sa PYR. Kaya nilang i-tolerate ang 6.5 sodium chloride, but the gas can only be produced by leuconostoc from glucose fermentation. Then lastly, so we have the Globicatella sanguis, the Helcococcus kunzi, and the Aleucoccus otitibis. So ito yung mga characteristics nila. So I leave you with that. So sa dulo nito, makikita natin yung summary in terms of the hemolytic pattern. Again, I will repeat, even though Pyogenes, Galaxiae, and group C were under the beta hemolytic group, they will not always produce beta hemolytic pattern. The same goes with pneumoniae and the viridans streptococci. They will not only produce alpha, but also may produce non and even beta. So, ito yung characteristic nila sa Optogene, Hippurate. So, this is just a summary of everything that we discussed earlier. Okay? So, we have the hemolytic pattern, their AST, vancomycin, bacitracin, sulfamethoxazole, Optogene, Hippurate hydrolysis, etc. So, eto po. Nakasummarize yan. Okay? So, supplemental lang po ito. So, wag dito magbe-base. You go to the previous slides and then you understand the principles behind the different tests, biochemical tests. And please do memorize the diagram. So, I will just repeat. Buo yun, no? So, pag nakakita tayo ng gram-positive cocci, what is the first test or biochemical test that should be performed? Magpo-perform tayo ng catalase. Pag positive, anong gagawin? Magagawa tayo ng diagram for the staphylococci and micrococci. So, gagawa tayo ng coagulase, di ba? Pag nag-positive sa coagulase, then Staphylococcus aureus. Kung negative, edicons yun, at saka si micrococci. So, gagawa tayo ng bacitracin and also microdase. Pag susceptible at saka positive sa microdase, micrococci yun. Pag negative, edi mga cons yun. So, magpo-perform naman tayo ng novobiocin. Kung nag-negative naman sa catalase, di magsususpect tayo ng streptococci at enterococci. Tama? So, anong susunod na gagawin? Kapag nag-negative sa catalase, determine the hemolytic pattern. Kung beta, bacitracin ang susunod. Kung alpha, Optogene. Kung non-hemolytic, bile esculin. Pag nag-positive sa bacitracin, meaning susceptible sa bacitracin, positive sa PYR, that is your gas, Streptococcus pyogenes. But if it is negative, perform tayo ng CAM o kaya ng Hippurate hydrolysis. Kung parehong positive, that is your group B, Streptococcus or yung tinatawag nating Streptococcus agalactiae. Pag nag-negative, bago ka mag-confirm na letter C siya, group C, anong gagawin? Perform ng bile esculin. Right? Pag nag-positive sa bile esculin, perform ng PYR at 6.5 sodium chloride tolerance test. Kung positive pareho, enterococcus yun. Pag negative, group D, streptococci. And then, kung negative talaga sa bile esculin, saka siya magiging group C. Right? Then, if it is alpha, yung hemolytic pattern, anong gagawin? Optogene. Pag nag-susceptible sa Optogene at nag-positive sa bile solubility test, Streptococcus pneumoniae. Kung negative or resistant sa Optogene, ang gagawin? Bile esculin. Salain ulit natin. Kung talagang negative sa bile esculin, saka ka lang mag-viridans at saka ka lang gagawa ng lab test. But if it is positive, so ulitin lang ulit natin, PYR, 6.5 sodium chloride, pag positive sa pareho, enterococcus, pag negative, group D. Then kung non-hemolytic, ulitin lang natin yung process sa bile esculin. Pag positive, PYR, 6.5 sodium chloride tolerance test. If both positive, enterococcus. Then if negative for both, group D streptococci yun. Eh kung negative sa bile esculin, tapos non-hemolytic, we report it as non-hemolytic streptococci. So that would be all for enterococcus and streptococci. These were my references. You can read Mahon, you can read Baylis and Scott's, you can also read Henry's and even the Jowett's, okay, by Radel and more. So thank you very much for listening. Good luck on your exams and on your quizzes.